on camera, cause I can't really see myself, cause I'm so shiny. Does my fringe look weird? I've had to go and change my hat, cause the other one made my head look too oblong. Why am I singing? Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. It is very lovely to see you all today. I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are. It's miserable and raining in London, so I hope somewhere the sun has come out. Today we are back in my reading corner, and I apologise if I do sound a bit funny. I've been sneezing like a crazy person for days. I do sound a bit weird and not my usual self, that be why. People are also doing some hardcore drilling outside my house at the moment. I don't know what they're drilling. So if you can hear some drilling, I apologise. It's very loud, very obnoxious, and very annoying. Ha, it's like me. So today guys, I'm going to be doing the Get to Know Me tag. And if you didn't already assume from the title, it's going to be the Get to Know Me tag book edition. My taste in books is more interesting than my personality, and you guys don't need to know whether I prefer cats or dogs. Obviously dogs. Hence my little gizmo over there who's asleep. I've written out the questions, I'm just going to answer them, have a chat so you guys can know my taste in books a little bit better. But please guys, if you do want to do this tag and film some wonderful, wonderful videos so I can know you guys better, please feel free, just let me know when you've done and I'll head over to your channel. And without further ado, let's get on to the Get to Know Me tag book edition. My favourite book is a book called The Borribles by Michael de la Robetti. I have never met a person other than my mother who has read, let alone heard of this book. So if you are a fan of The Borribles, please drop me a comment down below. This book is set in London. It's about a group of kids called the Borribles, who are essentially children who have been abandoned by their parents and have grown up on the street. They've got little pointy ears and they're always sneaky and thieving. They carry slingshots and they go on amazing, amazing adventures. But it is the only book I can read over and over again and not get bored of. Just a little disclaimer, it was written in the 70s, so some of the terminology he'll use isn't exactly politically correct today. It is still an amazing, amazing book that is so underrated that it's probably not even heard of, and people need to hear it and people need to read it, and I could talk about it forever. My favourite author is Sir Terry Pratchett of the Discworld. That was Terry Pratchett for all you guys who didn't understand my crazy accent I just did there. Everything the man has ever written is genius. He made such an amazing world with such amazing, amazing characters. It's just timeless and it's so clever and so funny, and the man's a genius. My favourite genre is fantasy, obviously. Next question. My favourite protagonist is actually going back to The Borribles. Sorry, I know you guys have probably never heard of this and I'm going to keep talking about it, but my favourite protagonist of all time is the character Knocker from The Borribles. My favourite villain, now this is hard because from the top of my head I would say Gollum. I was terrified of Gollum as a child. I think about it, and my mum would read me The Hobbit when I was younger, and I was never scared of Gollum when she read me The Hobbit. I actually really liked him. I thought he was just a fisherman in a boat. And I saw the movie and Andy Serkis like friggin' terrified me. And now I can't read The Hobbit or The Two Towers or Return of the King without just freaking out about Gollum. And on the other hand, I'd like to say Alex from A Clockwork Orange, because A Clockwork Orange is one of my favourite books of all time, and he's a horrible, horrible, horrible character, but he's so well written and there's so much depth to him, and he's just a bit of a nutter, but he's a very good villain. A popular book I haven't read would be Divergent. I've never read Divergent. I've never read The Hunger Games. I've never read A Court of Thorn and Roses. I'll get around to it someday, guys. My book boyfriend would be Prince Arutha from Magician. by Raymond E. Feist. Again, with the obscure books you guys probably haven't read yet, but if you haven't read Magician, go and read it. He's beautiful and he's brooding and I'm in love with him. My least favourite book, and I hate to say it and you guys are probably going to get really angry with me, but I hate Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Is it Charlotte or Emily? I despise Jane Eyre. Now maybe I would have liked Jane Eyre in another life where I didn't study it for my English literature A levels. And I have lots of very unpopular opinions on this book which I'm not going to share on the internet. So my favourite children and my favourite illustrated book is The Enchanted Wood by Enid Blyton. I was obsessed with it, not just with this one, but with just anything Enid Blyton had written. She was my favourite when I was a kid. I still think she's an incredible, incredible, incredible children's author. But this is also my favourite illustrated book. Now, as you can see, it's falling apart. My granddad bought it for my mum, and then she gave it to me, and she read it to me and my little brother, and then I'll keep it and I'll read it to my children, so it's like a fair family heirloom. All our family heirlooms in our family are actually books of the original Enchanted Wood books, so their names are still Jo, Bessie and Fanny, which later got changed because of one of their names was a bit funny, wasn't it? My favourite series is a series called Xanth by Piers Anthony, another obscure fantasy author you've probably never heard of. But Xanth is about a magical world called Xanth, which kind of runs parallel to the normal non-magical world which they call Mundania, and it's quite an old book as well. Like, it's one of my mum's used to read when she was younger, but I love it, and it's a very, very good series to read. None of the books are bad, they're all got some exciting new twist or turn. Most overrated book. Now this one is also hard for me because I don't want to be abused on the internet, so I'm going to play it very safe and go 50 Shades of Grey. I've never read it. I have no desire to read 50 Shades of Grey. Even the smallest inkling. It's Twilight fan fiction. My most underrated book would be The Talisman by Stephen King. He writes it with Peter Straub, and it is another kind of fantasy adventure where the magical world runs parallel to the normal world. Wow, this sounds like a theme with my reading. And it's about a little boy who has to go on a quest to find the talisman. And I think it's underrated because, one, I don't know that many people, again, who've read it. And two, I feel like everybody knows Stephen King for his horror and his thriller, which is perfectly fine. That's what Stephen King essentially writes. But it's a fantasy book that he wrote, and I think it's beautiful and amazing, and it is the only book where I've been seriously affected by a character's death. Like, we're talking, I called my mum up at work in tears, sobbing, saying, no, so-and-so's died, and she thought something was seriously wrong with me. And I'm like, no mum, the character in The Talisman. That's so embarrassing. My favourite lady that slays. Now this was a very, very hard question as well, because there are so many badass ladies in books nowadays. But I would absolutely have to say that my favourite lady that slays is Nina from Six of Crows. Honestly, I want to be Nina. I think she is an incredible character. My favourite classic book is The Great Gatsby. I love it. You guys already knew that. I don't need to talk about Great Gatsby anymore. My favourite dystopian would be The Enemy by Charlie Hickson. If you've never read The Enemy, it is a series of zombie books set in a dystopian London where everybody over the age of 14 gets sick and turns into like zombie-esque people. It's about all the kids under 14 having to survive this dystopian zombie-fueled London. Again, if you haven't read it, what is English? What is English? What is English? A book that makes me cry is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's just heart-wrenching. Like, I was sobbing through the whole end of it. I was so emotionally attached to the characters, as I get attached to most characters. And the last question, a book that makes me laugh, and that has to be a Terry Pratchett book. The only author in the world that will physically make me laugh out loud. I don't know how he does it. I can be sitting reading a Discworld novel on the train and I will be laughing and people will be looking at me like I'm a crazy person. But if I had to narrow it down, I would probably pick Weird Sisters, which is the first witches novel in the series, so we get to know Granny Weatherwax a bit better and Nanny Ogg, and they are hilarious. They're absolutely wonderful. And I mean, for me personally, I think Granny Weatherwax reminds me exactly of my grandmother. Grandma's exactly the same, and it is amazing. Oh, Gizmo, you're gonna come and do the outro with us. Come on, smile beautifully. Smile beautifully. Well, that is it for today's video, guys. If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. If you do want to try this tag for yourself, drop me a comment so I can come over and check out your Get to Know Me book edition. That's all for now, my lovelies. I will see you in the next video.